Greetings, beloved. Today we are going to look at the issue that has to do with country living. We are going to see the beauty and the goodness of country living. In other words, let's say we are going to look at the pros of country living. So, because there are a lot of misconceptions in this world regarding the subject of country living. Some people think that a country is a place for retired old folk. Some people think that country is for the uneducated, those who are jobless, those who have lost opportunities and jobs in the cities. They go to stay in the country and try farming and other opportunities that the country might offer. That's what some people think. Some people think that the country and those who are going to the country are doing so because they are running away from the Sunday law that is about to come. Some people think that the only time to consider country living is when the Sunday law is declared, not now. So they are waiting for the Sunday law to be enforced. That's when they would want to go to the country. Some people would have loved to go to the country, but the problem is they think that going to the country will prove to them as a disadvantage. Going to the country will make them suffer. They will lose their sources of income, and they will look miserable. They will lose weight because of hard work, and they would grow old and look pathetic and miserable. So they wouldn't want to do that. So some people would not want to move out of the cities because of that. So now we want to ask a question that says, why do we have to leave the city in the first place? Why do we have to live in the cities in the first place? The answer, we find it in the Bible, and we'll find the answer also in the Spirit of Prophecy. The Spirit of Prophecy says, get out of the cities as soon as possible and purchase a little piece of land where you can have a garden, where your children can watch the flowers growing and learn from them lessons of simplicity and purity. And Genesis chapter 2 verse 8 also tells us that the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. So we can see from the scriptures that we have read so far that it is God's will that human beings, people that God has created, should live in the country, in a garden. In the beginning of everything, God made Adam and Eve, and he gave them a garden to be their home where they would live. So that's God's ideal plan for you and me, beloved. So what are the pros of country living? Number one, in the country there are fewer cars and noises from siren and noisy neighbors. There are more chances to be listening to birds and God's creatures out there. You are right in the middle of nature. And also the other advantage is that there's clean air and clean environment. There's less industrial pollution and exhaust fumes. So all those are good advantages of being in the country. So it is not God's will that these people should settle in the cities where there's constant turmoil and confusion. In the cities, there's the life is fast, and the cities are overpopulated. There is a lot of confusion and turmoil. So our children should be spared from all this. So that's why the servant of God was shown that people should go out of the cities and should never consider it a deprivation if they are asked to move out of the cities. Right? In the country, there's more space. There's more space to build houses. There's more space to do gardening. There's more space to relax. unlike in the cities. And in the country also, you are closer to nature. You go to the mountains, you go hiking, you go fishing, you go out there and relax in nature, unlike in the cities. So the Benefit Patient also goes on to say there is not one family in 100 who will be improved physically, mentally, and spiritually by residing in the city. There's no advantage that is there for spiritual life in the city. So point number 5, in the country, life is not that expensive. Life is cheaper in the country. You build your house, you put your solar system, you drill your bore, you're sorted. You don't pay any electric bills, you don't pay any water bills, and you drink water freely, and you don't stress, and you don't worry with anyone. Like now in Zim, people are struggling to get pure water in the cities. So if you are in the country, you have no such issues. There is a healthier lifestyle in the country because you grow your own food. In the cities, you have to depend upon buying food from the supermarkets. You have to buy food from these vegetable markets and all the stuff. So now in the country, you grow your own food. You grow your own food, you produce what you want to eat, fresh, and you can also decide what to use when producing and growing your own food. If you are someone who respects healthful lifestyle like me, you would grow your own vegetables using organic manure and organic means of controlling pests and diseases. There are so many ways like that. If you want to learn about it and research about it, you will find that there are organic methods of farming that produces clean food. So parents should consider going out of the cities for the sake of their children, so that their children also may grow up eating good, clean, and healthful food. So in the cities, the environment is perilous to health. It's not good for health because there's too much exhaust fumes, there's a lot of pollution from the industries, and some streams and rivers that are there in the cities are polluted as well. And sometimes our children go play there in polluted water. And sometimes there are sewage issues there in the cities as well, which also is very bad for the environment. So in the country, there are small communities and there are few people. Houses are not densely populated. So there's love, there's unity in the country. And people don't have this animosity that is in the cities. Like I had an experience of being in the city of Cape Town for 10 years, from 2010 up to 2020. People in that city, they swear, they use vulgar language in trains, in buses, in public places. People just use vulgar language like nobody's business. There's no respect of women, there's no respect of men. People just speak. Now, if our children are growing up in such environment and they are growing up hearing swearing and vulgar language and violence, it has an impact upon our children's characters. They will start thinking that life like that is just okay, it's acceptable. They can even start copying it and also practicing it. So in the country also there's less stress. There's less stress in the country because life is not cheap. Life is not too fast in the country. the country provides a safer environment. There's not much crime in the country. In Cape Town, if you go to those suburbs like Kailicha, Nyanga, Guguletu, Delft, and other dangerous communities, you can be robbed, you can lose your phone, you can lose your money and all your belongings that you might be traveling with. The societies are dangerous. So it's not like that in the country. Life in the country is quiet and there's less congestion, there's less noise, crime is almost close to zero. The chances of you being robbed in the country are almost close to zero. You can walk around with your laptop, with your phone in the country, even in the late hours of the day. You would not even stress of running the risk of being robbed, right? And then also in the country, there are more opportunities of being self-sufficient. God's plan for you and me is that we should be self-sufficient, because in these last days where we are heading now, a time of trouble is coming where we cannot buy or sell. And in those times, we need not to be relying upon the system. We should not be relying upon buying food. We should be self-sustaining. We should be growing our own food. So now you cannot start living such a life immediately when crisis comes upon us. You should have established yourself to live such kind of a lifestyle, so that when the time of trouble comes, you are already used, you're already in that kind of lifestyle. You are just continuing with what you have been doing all along. So the idea of saying we'll move into the country when the crisis breaks upon us, it's not a wise idea. It's not a wise decision. The wise thing to do is to move out of the cities before the crisis come upon us. So in the country, like I said earlier on, you produce your own food, clean food for that matter. In the cities, you have to rely upon buying food that other people have produced, and those foods that we buy from supermarkets and fruit and veg, we know that they've been produced commercially. They're coming from commercial farms where a lot of chemicals were used, and a lot of fertilizers which are poisonous have been used to produce those foods. Now in the country, you decide to grow your own food in the way that you want, that is clean. So it teaches us to be self-sufficient and to look upon God and to have a very close and intimate relationship with the Maker, with God Himself. So, and also we find that in the cities there are many temptations that are there. There's a lifestyle that is in the city that is there to encourage pleasure, to encourage worldliness and breaking of God's commandments. There are a lot of activities that are in the city that are anti-worship and that are ungodly. Even if you read the book of Genesis chapter 19, you will see there the disadvantage that Lot had because of deciding to live in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. And such things are being repeated in our time again. Our cities are changed and are tend to be like Sodom and Gomorrah. So God is seeking to punish those cities again in the same manner that He punished Sodom and Gomorrah. So if you remain in those cities, you will be punished also together with those evildoers that are in the city. Even though you claim to be a child of God, you will not be spared because you did not take heed to God's warnings and God's commandments to us. So God is going to rain fire and brimstone and destroy those cities that are evil, those cities that are turned into Sodom and Gomorrah. I know you understand what I mean when I'm saying our cities are changed into Sodom and Gomorrah. So it is wise for the people to leave. Actually, the spirit of prophecy tells us that those who leave the cities and who go out there in the country and acquire a piece of land where they produce their own food and sustain themselves from the ground, they live a life that is blessed. They live a life like kings and queens there in the country. That's what the pen of inspiration said. So the wise thing, beloved, is to heed God's call. The wise thing to do is to heed what Jehovah is telling us to do. If we do not heed what God is saying, one of these days we shall regret it. But my prayer is that you and me, beloved, we should obey God in the same manner that Noah did. It's not that going out of the cities you are saying that you are holier than thou. No, you're not going to this out of the city because you are holy, or you want to be better than anyone else, or you are going to the city to show off that you are closer to God than anyone else. No, you are going out to the city because it is God's ideal purpose to do so. That is the best place to be as a man or a woman of God. That is the best place to raise our children. That is the reason why we go out of the cities. And many other blessings and many other advantages that we have discussed. So may God bless you as you contemplate upon those things. And may God be with you. And may God open ways and means that will enable you to also go out of the cities. God bless you. God be with you.